Hey everybody, I hope you all are doing well and welcome back to Michael's Matter. Now, as per usual, I am Michael. How do you do? And one of the biggest decisions for folks who are looking at retiring in the near future is when is the best time to retire, especially for benefits through Social Security. So things like Social Security Retirement, Social Security Disability SSDI, Social Security Survivors, and really all the other iterations of Social Security benefits. Because when you retire, it has really a whole boatload of implications for your life once you retire and really ever after. Everything from how much Social Security benefits you can receive when you start, how much of an increase you'll get every year, and ultimately how much you eventually get throughout the entire of your retirement, all based off when you start. Of course, additionally, there are considerations about how quality of life is affected, more time with the family, learning to play golf, maybe working on a car, all those kinds of things as well. So today, I wanted to take a look at some real interesting data from Social Security about how many people are actually currently taking Social Security at three specific age points. So at the earliest at 62 years old, at the full retirement age at 66, and then at the oldest possible age at 70, and see if we can add a bit of perspective for somebody who is trying to figure out when is the best time for them to retire. Now, before we get to it, if you like these videos, if you find them interesting, if you find them helpful, or hey, even if you find them useful, please don't forget to like and subscribe because it really does help the channel to grow, and we are so thankful for that. But also, you get updates when our newest and most informative videos become available. All right, now, let's get down to the video. So today, let's start off by talking about where the average retirement age for Americans is at right now. Because as it turns out, Americans are choosing to retire older and older, and in fact are even now expecting to retire later than maybe their parents did or their grandparents did. According to Gallup, the poll maker, they took a poll of folks who are not yet retired and asked them when they expect to retire. And what the poll found is that the expected average retirement age right now has gone up to 66 years old, which is about up by 10% or 6 years from where it was back in 1995 when they last specifically polled on this issue. And people expected at that time to retire at 60 years old. These expectations go along with the national trend of waiting to retire, as in 1991, the average age that someone expected to retire was at 57 years old. Now, it's at 61 years old. Gallup based these numbers on research that they gathered from their annual Economic and Personal Finance Survey, which happens every year in April. Now, obviously, one of the biggest factors to why these ages are going up is the fact that Social Security retirement age has also gone up and continues to go up for people born after a certain age. But also because people have been working longer, and maybe, this is just one speculation on my part, and perhaps an underhanded pat on the back, is I think that folks are getting better educated about how Social Security works and realize the benefits of toughing it out just a little bit longer so they can have a nice, juicy, positive increase in their benefits if they retire later than if they retire shorter. Now, that is just, of course, speculation. So let's look at some of the data from the Social Security side and see how that compares with what Gallup got in their polls. First, when we pull up the chart from Social Security, they actually have data about how old the overall population is of folks who are on Social Security. The average age of a person on Social Security as of 2022 was 61 years old. But that includes people who are on things like Social Security Disability or Social Security Survivors or other non-age-based Social Security benefits. So it does skew the number just a little bit. The number of people who are on Social Security Retirement, though, at the age of 62, the earliest age in which you can start taking Social Security Retirement, as of December 2022, was 565,887 nationwide, with the average benefit check of being $1,274.87, which is considerably lower than what we see the overall average for all retirees on Social Security is at $1,836.06 from the month of May that we just got from Social Security. And I don't know if everyone else is excited as I was. I don't think so, but I was pretty excited about it. So, yeah. Now, this is going to be in line with what we know about how Social Security works, because when somebody does retire at the earliest possible date prior to their full retirement age, at 62 in this case, there is going to be a pretty significant cut in benefits at the time of retirement, which carries through for each subsequent year, even after the COLA increases happen. Now, when we look at the total number of people at 62 years old on Social Security, that 565,887, those numbers only really amount to about 1.16% of the total number of people who are receiving Social Security retirement benefits. That was in December. The total number, by the way, is at 48 million. Next up, though, let's take a look at the data for those older Americans and retirees who are able to retire at their full retirement age, either at 66 or 67. Now, there's going to be a bit of a discrepancy here because the full retirement age, or the FRA, is different depending on when somebody was born. So for folks who were born after 1960 and later have an FRA that is going to be at 67 years old. So nobody as of yet at the time of this video has actually reached that 67 FRA. So let's take a look just at the 66 years old, where you can frankly see a very, very big increase in the retirement numbers for Social Security retirement. Because at 66 years old, we can see that the number of people receiving benefits jumps massively to 2,273,047 individuals, which is almost 5 times the number of people at 62. Additionally, at 2,273,047 beneficiaries, it also means that folks at 66 years old, that age group represents about 4.68% of the total people receiving Social Security benefits. This seems to fall in line with what the Gallup poll found when they asked non-retirees when they expected to retire, because the poll showed that most of them thought they would expect to retire at 66 years old. But one variance to this is that when polling folks who were already retired about when they actually retired, they found out a majority of those folks who were polled said that they ended up retiring at 61 years old. So there's basically a 5-year gap between what people expected to retire and when they actually did. In a study done by EBRI, or the Economic Benefits Research Institute, which is a nonprofit, nonpartisan research institute, they found that only about 1 out of 6 people, or 16%, actually retired at their expected age. Most of these older Americans included in the study ended up retiring about 4.3 or a little bit less years earlier than they anticipated. So either way, looking at the Social Security numbers, there is a very noticeable jump in the amount of people who retired at 66 years old, a big bump, I guess. And also because there is a big jump at 66, it doesn't mean that these are all new retirees. Because of the way the numbers kind of sorted out, it also means that there are folks who retired earlier than 66, so 62, 63, 64, 65 years old, who are also included in that number. But with such a big jump, you can definitely safely assume that there are a lot of people jumping into Social Security at that age. Lastly today, let's look at the numbers for the age group that is the latest possible age that a person could claim Social Security benefits and really have the most financial benefit from it at 70 years old. And this is where we see a similar situation where 70-year-olds actually make up the biggest portion of Social Security benefits recipients, but that also includes anybody who retired before the age of 70. So when we look at the 70-year-olds as an age group on Social Security, we can see that there is 2,955,215 Americans who are 70 years old and who are taking Social Security benefits as of December 2022, which is really a lot more than I would have thought. And in fact, they represent about 6.08% of the total amount of beneficiaries. And the average Social Security benefit check for these individuals is the highest out of the three at $1,963.48 a month, which is $243.63 more than the 66 years old, or notably 14.17%. Now, interestingly enough, the numbers of people and the size of their benefits after the age of 70 actually start going down. So there are less people over the age of 70, which is kind of what you would assume, but also their benefits go down as well, which is a little interesting. Now, at the moment, when surveyed, about 39% of workers today anticipate to retire at 70 years old. But back to Social Security, in their data, they indicate that only about 5% of men and 7% of women actually wait until they are 70 years old to start taking benefits. Of course, the reasons for these that are cited are the fact that a lot of people are unable to afford waiting that long, or they're not able to continue to work, or have familial duties at home that don't allow them to continue to work all the way up to 70. So overall, when you retire is obviously going to be a deeply, deeply personal decision. It may make sense for you to retire early at 62, if, for example, you're not able to continue working and it's a disability issue, or maybe, you have familial issues, or maybe even you have substantial savings and you can live off a lower Social Security benefit without any issues. I mean, that's great, right? But when we look at the numbers, there's a very hefty jump at folks who jump into Social Security at 66 years old, because obviously is when folks can get their full retirement benefits, so 100%. And that is quite good. But at that 70-year-old space, that is the one that's the really interesting number to look at. And pretty enticing to get to if you can, because it really could mean a lot more money in your pocket in the short run and really over the entirety of your retirement. But yeah, I came across this data and I thought it would be really interesting to look at the numbers and see when folks in reality actually are retiring. Because you see lots of things online saying, hey, 62 is the best time, or 66 is the best time, or 70 is the best time. And so I wanted to see when people really retire, because they're kind of sort of voting with their feet rather than just kind of what hypothetical things that they could do. So I really hope that this is another piece of valuable information that all of you all can include in your calculation and your equation about when is the best time for you to retire for yourself. I know I sure did. All right, so that's it for today's Michael's Matters, and I really hope that you enjoyed this video. And if you did, if you liked it, if you found it interesting, or hey, if you found it maybe even useful, please don't forget to like and subscribe, because it does really help the channel to grow, and we are so thankful for that. But also, you get updates when our newest and most informative videos become available. So for Michael's Matters, I'm Michael, hoping that you take care of yourselves, take care of others, and have a happy, healthy